Hello everyone, I'm Rajvardhan Bodekar and today we'll be discussing about the previous year questions from Environment and Ecology. So let us start our discussion with first question on your screen now. So first question is, a pesticide which is a chlorinated hydrocarbon is sprayed on a food crop. The food chain is food crop, rat, snake, hawk. In this food chain, the highest concentration of pesticide would accumulate in which one of the following? So what they are asking, they have given this particular pesticide and this food chain, and they are asking us in which component of this food chain highest concentration of this particular pesticide would accumulate. Fine. So let us, in order to discuss this question, we will have to take the help of trophic levels. So consider this as a pyramid. Fine. So as per this particular food chain, so here at the base of the food chain we have food crop, then there is rat, then snake, and then hawk. Fine. So we know that in this food chain there is a transmission of energy in the form of food from food crops to rats, from rats to snakes, and from snakes to hawk. Right? But in food chain, it is not only that food energy is transmitted from the first trophic level to the subsequent trophic levels. It is not only restricted to food energy. Along with food energy, sometimes even toxic elements are also transmitted, and in this case that toxic element is in the form of chlorinated hydrocarbon. Fine. So that toxic element will also be transmitted from first trophic level to subsequent trophic level. Right? And this principle of transmission of toxic elements from one trophic level to another trophic level leads to increase in concentration. So this toxic element in the form of this particular pesticide, its concentration increases as it is transmitted from one trophic level to the subsequent trophic level, and this concept is known as bioaccumulation. Fine. And this particular as per this particular concept of bioaccumulation, the concentration will be highest at the topmost trophic level. Fine. So as this particular contaminant or toxic element is transmitted from food crops to rats to snakes and lastly to hawks, it would be hawks where the concentration of this particular pesticide will be highest, and hence its answer should be D, hawk. Fine. So it is hawk. Answer is D. Here one very important related concept is that, see, this particular chlorinated hydrocarbon is a contaminant and it is nothing but a POP. It is nothing but a POP. What is POP? Persistent organic pollutant. Persistent organic pollutants. What are persistent organic pollutants? These are the pollutants which can remain in the environment for longer period of time without getting reduced to simpler forms. POPs are the organic compounds which can remain in the environment for longer period of time without getting reduced to simpler forms. And often these POPs are toxic in nature. Often these POPs are toxic in nature. Examples of POPs are DDT, then aldrin, then endrin, etc. Fine. DDT, aldrin, endrin, these are the POPs, persistent organic pollutants. And there is one important convention. There is one important convention known as Stockholm Convention on POPs. It is Stockholm Convention on POPs. This convention aims at making world POP free. So the ultimate aim of Stockholm Convention on POPs is to make sure that world become free of persistent organic pollutants. Why we need to make this world free of POPs? Because they have adverse effect on health. They are often carcinogenic, and hence to protect world from POPs is the ultimate aim of Stockholm Convention on POPs, which was signed in 2001 and which came into force in 2004. Fine. So this is an additional information. So this particular part is for additional information. Fine. So answer for this question is D. Next now. So the next question, let us read this question. Consider the following statements. First, on the planet Earth, the fresh water available for use amounts to about less than 1% of the total water found. Second statement, of the total fresh water found on the planet Earth, 95% is bound up in polar ice caps and glaciers. Fine. So let us discuss this particular question. So this first statement, it talks about the on the planet Earth, the fresh water available for use amounts to about less than 1% of the total water found. Fine. So out of total water found, 96.5% is in the form of oceans and seas. Then around 0.9% is in the form of salt water other than oceans. That means there may be groundwater reserves which are saline in nature. That means they have NaCl, which is more than 35 ppts. Fine. So that water is 0.9%, and water in the oceans and sea is 96.5%, and thus the remaining amount, which comes approximately to 2.5%, is the water that is available for use. So this is fresh water available for use. And that's why we can say that this particular first statement is a wrong statement. It is a wrong statement. Fine. Next, second statement. So what does second statement talks about? Of the total fresh water, that means out of this 2.5% found on the planet Earth, 95% is bound up in ice caps and glaciers. No, again, this is a wrong statement. Why? Because out of this 2.5, only around 68% is bound in glaciers and ice sheets. Fine. So the statement, that's why it becomes false. So answer is D. Answer is D. Neither one nor two. Because the fresh water available for use is around 2.5% of the total water available, and out of total fresh water available for use, around 68% is accumulated in glaciers and ice sheets. Fine. Other water, that means whatever is left, around 30% is in the form of groundwater. It is in the form of groundwater, and 1.2% is surface freshwater. It is surface freshwater. Fine. So this is about this particular question. So answer for this question is neither one nor two. Next now. Next question. So in this question, let us read this question. Due to their extensive rice cultivation, some regions may be contributing to global warming. To what possible reasons is this attributable? So what are the reasons that these rice cultivating regions are contributing to global warming? So see, as per Ramsar Convention, these paddy fields, they are a part of wetlands, or they are considered as wetlands. Fine. And in wetland, as water is available for almost perennial, means water is present perennially, the form of respiration that is dominant is in the form of anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. And as a result of this anaerobic respiration, which gas is released from these wetlands? It is methane gas that is released from these wetlands. Fine. So these paddy fields, they are wetlands, and wetlands are associated with anaerobic respiration, leading to emission of methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas. Methane is a greenhouse gas. So let us read this statement first. The anaerobic conditions associated with rice cultivation cause the emission of methane gas. Fine. So based upon the discussion that we had, this statement is correct statement. Right? Apart from this, see, as a result of anaerobic respiration, it is not that only methane is released. Even nitrogen is released during this anaerobic respiration of bacteria. This nitrogen reacts with atmospheric oxygen. Reacts with atmospheric oxygen, and this subsequently leads to formation of nitrogen oxide, which is again a greenhouse gas. Fine. So let us read this second statement. When nitrogen based fertilizers are used, nitrogen oxide is emitted from the cultivated soil. Fine. So as these rice cultivators, they use nitrogen fertilizers, it eventually leads to emission of nitrogen that reacts with atmospheric oxygen, leading to formation of nitrous oxide, and that is released from that particular soil. So yes, this statement is also a correct statement, and that's why your answer should be both 1 and 2. Both 1 and 2. So third question, answer is C, both 1 and 2. Next. So next question is about the mercury or the fluorescent electric lamps that cause mercury pollution. So let us read this question. Indiscriminate disposal of used fluorescent electric lamps causes mercury pollution in the environment. Why mercury is used in the manufacturing of these lamps? So in order to answer this question, we'll have to discuss about fluorescent lamps. Fine. So let us discuss about fluorescent lamps. So what are these lamps? These are the lamps that consist of glass tube, a gas filling, electrodes, and a phosphor level. A phosphor layer, not level, phosphor layer. Fine. So fluorescent lamps, they consist of a glass tube, a gas filled inside that glass tube, then electrodes which will make the exchange, or which will make the circulation of electricity through electrodes possible, and phosphor layer. Fine. And these these lamps, fluorescent lamps, they are a gas discharge. They are a gas discharge lamps. What does gas discharge lamps mean? That is, the lamps that generate light. Gas discharge lamps, they generate light by sending an electrical discharge through an ionized gas. So these lamps, fluorescent lamps, they are a gas discharge lamps. That means they can create, or they can generate light by sending an electrical discharge. That means they send electric current through an ionized gas. Which is filled inside them. So we have already discussed that they have gas filled inside them. Through that particular gas, electric discharge is sent in order to make sure that light is produced from that particular gas discharge. Right? And generally, these lamps, fluorescent lamps or gas discharge lamps, they use noble gases. As filling. Noble gases like argon, krypton, neon, etc. Fine. So these noble gases are used as a glass film. Fine. Next point about fluorescent lamps. So in fluorescent lamps, a small amount of mercury is used. So they use a small amount of mercury, and that mercury is mixed with inert gases. So the gas filling is of inert gases, and in those inert gases, mercury is also used to make sure that electric current is conducted. See, these inert gases, they do not have free electrons, and hence for them to conduct electric current is very difficult. And that's why, in order to make sure that these gases conduct electric current, we mix mercury with them. Fine. And as this mercury is mixed with these inert gases, this allows these gases in the tube to glow with UV light. Fine. So as we have mixed mercury with these inert gases, and as we allow the electric discharge through these gases, this leads to the production of light in the form of UV light. But these UV lights, they are not visible. And thus, in order to make them visible, what we use a phosphor layer in the fluorescent lamps. Fine. So that is the functioning of fluorescent lamps. Now let us discuss the question. So question asked about why is mercury used in the manufacturing of these lamps. So first statement, a mercury coating on the inside of lamp makes the light bright white. Fine. So it is not the case. It is not the mercury coating which makes the light bright white. It is phosphor coating which makes the lamp light bright white. So this statement is a wrong statement. Next, when the lamp is switched on, the mercury on the lamp causes the emission of ultraviolet radiations. So as the lamp is switched on, that means as the electric current is passed through that particular gas mixed with mercury, what we have discussed, it leads to production of UV light, and that's why the emission of UV radiations occur, and hence this is a correct statement, and that's why your answer should be B. Fine. Other options are cooked up options. They are not correct options, but still we will discuss third statement, or C option. When the lamp is switched on, it is the mercury which converts the ultraviolet energy into visible light. No, again not. It is not the mercury which converts UV light into visible light. It is phosphor which converts UV into visible light. So this statement is again a wrong statement. None of the statements given above is correct. So this is again a wrong statement, because we have already found a correct statement in the form of statement B. Fine. So that is the functioning of fluorescent lamps. So let me repeat this particular point. So fluorescent lamps, they consist of glass tubes, a gas filling. These gases are in the form of inert gases, then electrodes and phosphor layer. These are four important components of fluorescent lamps. And in these lamps, as we are using these inert gases, in order to make sure that electric current is conducted by these gases, we mix mercury with these gases, and as electric current flows through these gases mixed with mercury, it leads to production of UV light. But UV light is not visible, and hence to make that light visible, we use phosphor layer, and that is the functioning of fluorescent lamps. And hence, for the question number 4, answer is B. Next is about the hydrogen fuel cells. So what is the question? Let us read. Hydrogen fuel cell vehicles produce one of the following as exhaust. So hydrogen fuel cells, they are the device that transforms hydrogen fuel into electricity. Right? So it is a device which converts or which transforms hydrogen fuel into electricity. And in this transformation of hydrogen fuel into electricity, it converts chemical energy. It converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Fine. And what is the reaction that goes in the or that occurs in the hydrogen fuel cell? So as they are using hydrogen, so hydrogen is used by them, and this reaction, this conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy, it occurs in the presence of oxidizer, and we know the best oxidizer is O2, and that's why the reaction is like this, in order to balance this. Fine. So in the hydrogen fuel cell, what is produced as exhaust? It is water, steam, which is nothing but H2O in the gaseous form is produced. Right? So for question number 5, answer is H2O, C. Next. Next is question number 6. Question number 6. So consider the following statements. First, the Taxus tree naturally found in Himalayas. Taxus tree is naturally found in Himalayas. So this statement is a correct statement, because the Taxus tree, which is also known as Himalayan yew, it is also known as Himalayan yew, and it is naturally found in Himalayas. And this particular tree, its habitat is Garhwal Himalayas. So Himalayan yew is found in Garhwal Himalayas, and that's why this particular first statement is true or correct. Next, second statement. The Taxus tree is listed in the Red Data book. So we know that the Red Data book is given by IUCN. It is given by IUCN, and it is a list of, Red Data book is a list of endangered species of plants and animals. Fine. So in this particular IUCN's Red Data book, yes, Taxus tree is there. It is mentioned in the endangered category. It is mentioned in the endangered category of Red Data book. And what is leading to endangerment of this particular tree species? It is overexploitation. Then over harvesting, then habitat loss because of human interventions, and the most important reason is climate change. Fine. So why over exploitation or over harvesting is occurring? Because of its known medicinal use. Because of its known medicinal use. So this particular species, it is used in traditional medicines for treating cold, cough, high fever, inflammatory conditions, respiratory infections, and indigestion, etc. Right? So it is used in traditional medicines. Also, its leaves, they do contain taxol. Fine. So the leaves of Himalayan yew or taxos, they contain the drug or chemical called as taxol, which is important in the treatment of Parkinson's disease. Sorry, it is useful in the treatment of cancer, not Parkinson's disease, and that's why this statement, third statement, becomes wrong. Okay. So let us discuss this third statement. A drug called taxol is obtained from Taxus tree, is effective against Parkinson's disease. See, first part of this statement is fine. That is, the drug called taxol is obtained from Taxus tree. Yes, it is correct. But this particular drug, it is not used for Parkinson's disease treatment. It is effective for cancer treatment, especially breast cancer and ovarian cancer. For the treatment of these cancers, this taxol is useful, and hence third statement becomes wrong. And that's why your answer is B, 1 and 2 only. Fine. I hope it is clear to you. Next. Next question is about Jatropha curcas. So it is generally known as Jatropha only. So let us read this question. Other than Jatropha curcas, why is Pongamia pinnata also considered a good option for the production of biodiesel in India? So this question, basically it is about the biofuels. It is about biofuels. So what are biofuels? Biofuels are the fuels which are produced from organic matter. Produced from organic matter which may be which may come from plants or from animals. So whenever we use organic matter in the production of fuels, those fuels are referred to as biofuels. And primarily there are two categories of biofuels. First is ethanol. And second is biodiesel. Fine. So biofuels primarily they are of two categories, ethanol and biodiesel. And we know that ethanol is produced from alcohol based fermentation, or from the fermentation of sugar cane. We can produce ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol from sugarcane fermentation. Fine. And this ethyl alcohol or ethanol can be blended with petrol. So this can be blended with petrol. On the other hand, biodiesel. So they are derived from combination of vegetable oil or animal fat with alcohol. So when we combine vegetable oil or animal fat with alcohol, then whatever solution is produced, that is nothing but biodiesel, and it is blended with biodiesel is blended with diesel. Fine. And it is derived from various vegetables or various crops like rapeseed, soya bean and jatropha. Fine. So this is about biofuels. Now let us discuss the question. So what does question say? First statement is Pongamia pinnata grows naturally in most of the arid regions of India. Fine. So this Pongamia pinnata, it is a leguminous tree, and it has the potential to grow even on the marginal lands. So Pongamia pinnata, it can grow on marginal lands. That means lands which are not properly irrigated. You can consider those regions or those lands as a part of arid regions. They are not properly irrigated. Fine. And that's why the first statement becomes true. Pongamia pinnata grows naturally in most of the arid regions of India. First statement is correct, because Pongamia pinnata, they can even thrive in harsh conditions of arid region, and that's why they can naturally grow there, and thus first statement is a correct statement. Next, the seeds of Pongamia pinnata are rich in lipid content. Fine. So this particular statement, what it says, the lipid content is high. So yes, this is a correct statement, because lipid content is almost 25 to 40% in the seeds of Pongamia pinnata, and thus second statement is also a correct statement, and hence answer becomes both 1 and 2. Right? So that is about biofuels and Pongamia pinnata. So we can say that jatropha, in addition to jatropha, Pongamia pinnata can be used for the production of biodiesel. Next. So this question is about king cobra. So let us read this question. King cobra is the only snake that makes its own nest. Why does it make its nest? So let us consider the options. It is a snake eater, and the nest helps attract other snakes. So king cobra is no, it is not a snake eater. It is carnivores, obviously, but it does not eat other snakes, right? And that's why this is a wrong option. Next, it is a viviparous snake and needs a nest to give birth to offsprings. No, king cobra is not viviparous, but it is oviparous. It is oviparous snake. It is not viviparous, and that's why second statement also becomes wrong. Third, It is an oviparous snake and lays its eggs in the nest and guards the nest until they are hatched. Yes, this is a correct statement, and that's why your answer should be C. But we will read next statement as well. It is a large cold-blooded animal and needs a nest to hibernate in the cold season. See, king cobra, it does not occur in the regions in the temperate region. It is not there in the temperate region, and generally this hibernation as an adaptation is seen in the extremely colder regions like temperate region. And as king cobra, it is dominant or it is present in the tropical region. This statement also does not hold much ground, and that's why your answer should be C. It is an oviparous snake and it lays eggs in the nest and guards the nest until those eggs are hatched. Right? So that was the question. Next, eighth question. India is a party to Ramsar Convention and has declared many areas as Ramsar sites. Which of the following statements best describe as how we should maintain these sites in the context of this convention? So you must be aware of this particular convention, Ramsar Convention. So it was signed in 1971 and it came into force in 1975, and this convention is for, or it is also known as Convention on Wetlands. Convention on Wetlands. So there are 3 goals of Ramsar Convention. What are those goals? So I'll be writing in this margin, Ramsar Convention's goal. So Ramsar Convention. What are the goals of Ramsar Convention? So first is wise use of wetlands. Wise use of wetlands. We should use wetlands in such a way that the ecological characteristic of wetland is not hampered or it is not changed. That is the wise use of wetlands. Then second goal of Ramsar Convention is to give a list of internationally important wetlands. Internationally important wetlands. And that list is nothing but Ramsar list. That list is nothing but Ramsar list. Next, third goal of Ramsar Convention is international collaboration. See, there will be some wetlands which are shared by different countries, and in order to conserve those wetlands, there has to be international collaboration. And these are the 3 goals of Ramsar Convention. Fine. And we means India is also a member of Ramsar Convention, and we have almost 42 sites right now in the Ramsar list. Fine. So let us discuss this particular question. First statement. What this question asks, it asks which of the following statements best describes as how we should maintain these sites in the context of the convention. So A, keep all sites completely inaccessible. See, completely inaccessible is not the focus of Ramsar Convention, because we have mentioned that it is about the wise use of wetlands. That means the use which maintains or which protects the ecological characteristic of wetlands. So this statement becomes wrong statement. Next, conserve all the sites through ecosystem approach and permit tourism and recreation only. No, again, this is not a correct statement as per Ramsar Convention, because under Ramsar Convention, again, under wise use we can use resources. We can use resources from wetlands. So it is not only about the tourism and recreational activities, but even resources can be used from the wetlands, and hence this statement again becomes a wrong statement. Next, conserve all the sites through ecosystem approach for a period without any exploitation, with specific criteria and specific period for each site, and then allow sustainable use of these sites by future generation. Again, see that what they are saying, that initially you will restrict the use, and then subsequently as these sites are maintained properly, then sustainable use can be carried out. Again, this is not a correct statement. Fine. So this is not a correct statement. Next, D. Conserve all the sites through ecosystem approach and allow their simultaneous sustainable use. This is a correct statement. Fine. See, conservation is different from prevention. It is different from prevention. So prevention will stop the use itself, but conservation will ensure sustainable use. It will ensure sustainable use. Fine. And that's why question number 9 answer is B. Next. So next question, 10th question. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, is an international treaty drawn at. That means they are asking you where exactly UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, was formed. So it was formed at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, held at Rio de Janeiro in 1992, which is popularly known as Earth Summit. So at this particular summit, two important conventions came up. They are CBD, the Convention on Biological Diversity, which looks after or which looks for the protection of or for the conservation of biodiversity. And second convention which was signed at the Earth Summit or Rio Summit was UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which obviously deals with the mitigation of climate change. Mitigation of climate change. Fine. So answer is D. Next question.
For more videos, subscribe to BN by IAS and press the bell icon to never miss an update.